Alright, here's a little bit of update on this radio. This is not part 2. But I have found out that the electrolytic is indeed bad. Apparently it was open even though it seemed to have held a charge of some sort on this last video I demonstrated. It hums like a banshee, so the electrolytics have to be replaced. Also, I found out that this pilot light here was burned out. I was having one hell of a time trying to find out why the tubes would not light. Not having a schematic, I was at a loss as to what was causing the filament string to not be energized. I tested all the tubes and every single tube is fine. No shorts, good emission, but I replaced this bulb and they all come on. But I got to replace this electrolytic. I'm up against a brick wall, not because I don't know how to replace the electrolytic, but the problem is there's no room under the chassis. Now, as you can plainly see, it's a 4-section electrolytic right here. It looks nice sitting up there. It's a cardboard electrolytic, but not one of those cans. So you can't just slide the sleeve off of it and maybe put capacitors inside. You cannot restuff that. If you tried, I've never restuffed a cap in my life. If you tried, you'd tear up all the paper here trying to get inside of it and end up ruining it. I'd have to scotch tape it together. It would look like hell. Okay, I grabbed out of my capacitor drawer 47 microfarad at 350 volt. Now, I'm just doing this for size comparison. The capacitors I need for this electrolytic here is 60 microfarads. I need two 60 microfarads. They're rated at 150, but I'm going to use 250 volt. And a 40 microfarad at 150 volts or better. So I need two 60s and one 40 at 250 volts. Okay, physically, this thing's roughly an inch, maybe a little longer. This is 47 microfarads at 350 volts, which is more than I want to use in here. And it's only 47 microfarads. I'm just bringing these out as a physical size comparison. I don't have a 60 microfarad capacitor. I don't have them. Not at that voltage. I have lower voltage ones, 50 volt ones. So, if I order, well, I have Bob order 60 microfarads at 250 volts, you're not going to get them. You're going to get 68 microfarads at 250 volts, and they're going to be at least as large as this. I cannot mount these in here. There's just no way I can get two of these, of this size, and 140 microfarad, which would probably be a 47, which is what this is, to replace the 40, and two 68 microfarads to replace the two 60 microfarad capacitor sections of this. I can't get it up underneath. It's just impossible to get it up under the chassis. There's just not enough room here. I mean, I would need a terminal strip. I can't do it. I wouldn't even be able to drill to put a screw in here because I'm right against this dial cord wheel, and I definitely will ruin the dial cord wheel and probably drill a hole in a damn dial cord with my luck. I can't get the drill in there, and I can't get two capacitors in there. These things here, you can see that stick way up beyond the chassis, even though the chassis got these little feet. So mounting them here isn't a good idea. Mounting them this way, they'd stick out and hit the dial wheel. How? I'm afraid this capacitor is going to have to be yanked out of here. And let's say I got 268 at a 250 volt and 140. Look at the clumsy mess that makes. Of course, I'd have to take this completely off the chassis. And literally have a big mess sitting there in the hole. You know, they'll be going the other way. Probably with a piece of tape, electrical tape around all three of them. The fourth one is a 20 microfarad at 25 volts, and it's the cathode bypass capacitor for this 35C5. I said 50C5, it's a 35C5. So that's where I'm at. I need some ideas. Anybody work on this particular radio? And if you change the electrolytic, where the heck did you put it? On top of the chassis? I can't see how you could do it under the chassis. Okay, you see it's a potted capacitor with whatever that stuff is. It's very hard. So what I was going to do is clip these leads very close to the cap and add, because I don't have to, you know, if I keep the capacitors in this area here, I'm fine, but there's no way I'm going to be able to put 3 of these gigantic things in here. I mean, with a terminal strip. There's not even a place to mount the terminal strip here. I'm up against a rock and a hard place. I don't know if anybody else has worked on this particular Hallicrafters radio and ever restored the electrolytics, replaced them, I should say. The only place I can think of is to put a terminal strip in here, but I can probably get 2 of them in here on the front panel here. I'd have to drill a hole in here, put a terminal strip here, and I can only put 2 capacitors here, and then I'd have to drop another one over here on another terminal strip, and then run the wires up. I don't like doing that, but I might have to. So I'm kind of open to suggestions, because there just isn't enough room in here, as you can plainly see. Literally take it out, put my terminal strip on the top of the chassis, which is going to look bad, and mount my 3 capacitors here. The 4th capacitor, which is a 20 microfarad 25 volt, that's part of this section of this, can be mounted at the base of the 50C5 for the cathode bypass. So that'll eliminate 1 capacitor from the top of the chassis. I really hate to put the capacitors up here. It spoils the looks at the top of the chassis. I like to keep it looking nice up here. Nobody's going to see underneath.